How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to Roll On Gaming. And it is finally time to talk about a set that has been released. Spark of Rebellion is out officially, fully, and completely. And we are fully and completely here to talk with you about it. But first, let me introduce, as always, my co-host and my brother, Corwin. Corwin, how does it feel to finally have the full set at our disposal?
Yeah, I mean, highly anticipated moment. Feels pretty great to have cards in hand, playing games all weekend. That's that's what it's about, man. It's good to finally get access to all the product, and we've cracked a lot of packs already, Kevin. So it's it's been an adventure.
We've opened some packs. It's a lot of product that we've opened. We're actually going to open one more at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But 10 months is a long time, and it's weird because that 10 months did not take that long in hindsight. May of last year doesn't seem like it was that far away looking back. But for me at least, it felt like these last like 2 months once we hit 2024 just really ground to a halt as we waited and waited and waited for our chance to finally play this game. I don't know how you felt about it, but at least that's where I was at on it.
Yeah, I wasn't like constantly obsessing over Twitter and all of the other stuff during that time. So it probably felt a lot longer for you than it did for me.
Mm.
But nevertheless, I certainly am excited to have the game out. It seems like it's generating a ton of buzz and excitement. People are really interested. Folks that obviously have been following for a while, folks that have not been following for a while. Um, so yeah, it seems like it sparked a lot of excitement in the community, certainly our local community, and I'm sure that's true across the nation. So super excited. I think it's living up to the hype so far.
I want to point out two things that you did there. One, because we're not going to let this go without calling it out. One, you said I was obsessed with the game, which is not wrong, but you said it, so I just have to make sure that we call that out. And the other thing is you said that it was sparking a lot of interest, which I thought was a good pun by you for Spark of the Rebellion. So well done, very good
I
on
have my
your part.
moments.
Yeah, yeah. Let's leave the jokes to me. But we're gonna talk a little bit about our release weekend experience. But before we do that, it is something I just want to mention off the top here. We just recently crossed 300 subscribers on our channel. And for those of you who have dedicated any amount of time to listening to the two of us, but mostly me, ramble on and on about this game that I am obsessed with, and apparently Corwin is not. I just want to extend really a heartfelt thank you. All kidding aside, when we restarted our podcasting and we jumped into an entirely new universe in doing video podcasts on YouTube, this was something that's a passion project for us, and we're so thrilled to be able to share that passion with all of you. So if you have subscribed, if you've listened, if you've watched, if you've connected with us in any way, just again, thank you very much. And Corwin, we're going to continue to churn out some content and make sure that you feel like that subscription is going a long way. That's we're going to be putting out this podcast at some point this week. We've already put out two videos opening product, one being my first ever box of Star Wars Unlimited, and then the other one just recently we posted a build a box video in partnership with our friends at Deploy Your Leader Gaming. So that's going to be three videos in total in this week, and then look for an article that is going to supplement that Deploy Your Leader Gaming video coming soon on their site. So we're looking to make you feel like your subscription is worthwhile. So thank you for continuing to be a part of this journey with us, and we're going to continue to share our journey with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that you I think you're selling that first box video a little bit short, Kevin, because that box you opened was stacked. I mean,
It
you had some really good pulls in there.
it was a wild box. I definitely did not expect to get a foil legendary in my second pack of a booster box of Star Wars Unlimited. Wow, look at that. We
Ooh.
almost messed up real bad. Uh, Definitely did not expect that. Obviously we'd opened pre-release packs and nothing really came close to that hit. And then two legendaries in the same pack. I think I almost said Star Wars Destiny because when we were playing Destiny, like no pack opening experience could ever have compared to that. Yeah, you open a box
Well, it's
of
different.
it
It
was
hits different when you've got all these
of
treatments
course.
and variants and more cards in the pack. It's not so much room taken up by a chunky die. So yeah, it's a totally different experience, and honestly, one that I'm sure a lot of people share this sentiment. But it's it's highly addictive, man. Getting into those packs and opening card because it there's always the chance that there's something in there, and most likely there will be something in there that you don't have,
Mm-hmm.
even however many boxes you've opened or whatever. So, um, and obviously there's always you're always going to be missing showcases. So every chance you have is a valid one to improve your collection. Which all the chasers out there, my hat's off to you, because it's a journey. It's definitely a journey, but um, it's so much to look forward to as we move forward in this game. It's only week one, but definitely it's good to take the time to appreciate what we have. This is the only time the game will ever launch.
Yeah.
So
And we were
it's
here,
important,
we were a part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Even
yeah,
though
to be present in that and just enjoy the moment.
none of us have pulled the showcase as of yet, so hopefully
Yes,
that changes at some point.
that day is coming.
But either way, there have been some awesome polls. There have been, I mean, I don't think either of us, Corwin, were ready for how amazing hyperspace foils are until we actually got a chance to see them in our hands. I mean, one of my favorites is a card that is never played, and that's You're My Only Hope. I pulled that in a hyperspace foil, and it's one of the most beautiful cards in the set, and I'll stand by that. It looks amazing. I wish I had it out, but to grab it from my massive binder would be a chore in and of itself. So I'll leave it in there. But these hyperspace foils and even just the regular foils and the regular hyperspaces, they make the chase that much more rewarding because even if you don't get a showcase or even if you don't get a hyperfoil legendary, you're still getting a chance to open some really cool cards and then flex those cool cards when you're playing in Premiere or in Sealed. So that
Yep.
aspect of it has been so much fun. Now I know
No,
on
agreed.
our last episode, you had a favorite for your favorite variants we talked about.
Mhm.
Do those still stand? Are you still where you were then? Is the
I am, yeah. I mean, I haven't really opened that many more packs,
yeah,
so yes, I think I shared the Hyperfoil Redemption,
redemption?
which looks awesome. Um, there's some other hyperspaces that definitely rival the First Legion Snowtrooper, but
Mhm.
that's still one of my favorites. So I'm good with those. I'm good with those picks holding up for the time being.
It's hard for me to go against the hyperfoil Luke Skywalker that my wife opened in one of our last boxes.
Yeah,
I won't get into how many boxes I've opened because it's a ridiculous number. But for me, like some of the coolest ones have been, some of the rares that I've opened. You saw it in our box with Deploy Your Leader. I opened that hyperfoil Emperor Palpatine, which looked really sick.
probably look nice.
I opened a hyperfoil for a cause I believe in, which looks awesome. So pretty much anything I'm going to try to play in hyperfoil as much as I can. But I'm just happy. I'm happy to have a decent chunk of these variants and happy to finally now that I'm done sorting, I can finally build a deck. So that part of it is the most exciting to me because we've got weekly play coming up. Weekly play already started.
We've already been a part of weekly
Right,
play.
exactly.
It's happened. We got our
Exactly.
first constructed games in this weekend. That was something I really enjoyed.
We did. And so let's talk about playing the game now because now that the set is out and we have enough cards to build these constructed decks. Let's talk about what you've enjoyed, and obviously we'll get to the community aspect of it in a bit, but I want to take some time to talk about the game specifically. Now that you are sitting down and building decks and seeing those decks in action, what has been your favorite part of that process and playing Premier games?
Well, I think for now, it's been an interesting process because I'm still kind of getting to a point where I have choices in terms of the level of product I own. So I think that's creating an interesting dynamic or challenge for folks depending on their level of buy-in to the game. The starters, I think, do a really good job of giving you a baseline for the two leaders that they present, and those decks are decent enough and can be modified, obviously. But I think I've underappreciated how difficult it is to acquire the cards that you need to build the deck that you want. So that's been one of my bigger observations of this week. That being said, I'm a heroes guy, Kevin. That's been our trademark from the beginning. I'm a heroes guy, you're a villains guy. So I'm really trying to see what I can do with Hero Red right now, given that I don't have all the cards I would want. So I've been putting some things together with Red, and I've enjoyed that experience anyway from what I did play online before the set released. So I'm kind of going back to the well and seeing if I can create something compelling in a red, probably a red green format. Because I think that archetype's has been a lot of fun to play. So hero red green, not probably not Sabine, but um, I'm leaning Leia at this point. She's somebody that I've appreciated since day one, and I've been really enjoying kind of putting her deck together.
I think you can't go wrong with Hero Green Red in whatever shell you put that in. Whether it's Sabine or Leia. Um, you know, Hera and Cassian are a little bit behind the eight ball on that front, but I,
I gotta tell you what, I definitely jammed some Cassian this weekend, and it was not the experience I was hoping it would be. He struggles a bit, and I think mainly just because his card draw. I mean, yeah, it's a 50 card deck, so cycling through helps, but it doesn't really impact the board state all that much. So it's a little painful to watch, some of those other abilities that leaders have going off, and you're just kind of like filling up your hand. Um, so I'm not sure that Cassian's one I'll be returning to anytime soon, but it was good to at least get that phase out of the way.
well, but you were playing Cassian with a different color, right? You were playing it with Cunning.
Just playing with cunning. I mean, I've opened 2 Falcons, so I'm just trying to see
That'll do it.
what I can, yeah, like how I can kind of make that work. But I'm just, and maybe there's something there with red, yellow, but not with Cassian. I don't think he struggles. I think he struggles to he plays too fair, I think is what it is for me.
Yeah, and there's definitely an aspect of that already in some of the early gameplay testing that we've seen. And I experienced it when I played in the showcase series on Unplayable's channel. Shout out to those guys for putting on an awesome series, and I hope
Yeah,
to be
great series.
a part of it again soon. But I played Hera in that the one round that I survived
Hero,
in.
man, what's up with that?
I
What is up with your heroes?
I gotta tell you, I really like Hera. Like the ability to splash all the different specters, and one, I think Kanan's one of the best cards in the set. I think Kanan's an amazing card, and to have him on board with even one or two other specters is awesome. In attempting to get the heals. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because I enjoyed Hera, and that's probably one of the casual decks that I plan on building. But um, yeah, that Hera deck just played too fair. And when you have in heroism and in the same aspects a deck like Leia that can do a 2-for-1 with her ability, and then deploy and do another 2-for-1 if you're so lucky, or Sabine, who is splashing Energy Conversion Lab, which is the best base in the game right now, and getting to do ambush shenanigans there, and deploying on 4 and doing all the things that Sabine can do. It's not that those things are unfair. It's just that they're more impactful than what a Hera or a Cassian is bringing. So you make a valid point. You almost have to be not unfair, but you almost have to be able to keep up right now to contend at least hyper competitively with some of these heroism meta decks. So at least you're leaning towards Leia. Now you mentioned not having a ton of the cards that you think you would want. So that's probably forced you to play more with maybe some suboptimal cards, but also realistically cards that you might not have given a shot to in the first place. Has there been an experience where you've played a card that you had fun playing or had a good experience playing that might not have made the list otherwise?
Well, yes and no. So the red green shell for heroes, I think, is pretty well agreed upon at this point,
Hmm.
and a lot of those cards are commons and uncommons. So a lot of those cards I haven't really been missing. It's more so the rares that I'm still waiting on.
Yep.
Um, and the substitute cards for those have been cards that I don't think would really surprise anybody. Um, but I will say that because I pulled two Falcons, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to jam them in. So what if I'm paying 5 for it?
Hmm.
Like, let me throw it in and see what happens. And to bring Falcons out and the same turn Leia comes out, don't hate it. Honestly, don't hate it. So that's been a little bit of fun to do. Not sure it'll end up making it into the final deck, but certainly something that I would not have tried if I had every other option at my disposal. So that's been a fun little takeaway from some of my early gameplay.
Yeah, these early matches, whether they're sealed or unoptimized Premiere, really do give you a chance to play some stuff out of aspect, which is awesome. I know in our last sealed event, I played Palpatine with red, but I had pulled a foil Mace Windu, and I just wanted to get him in there, so I put him in out of aspect. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to play him because either he showed up in my opening hand and I had to resource him eventually, or he was at the bottom of my deck and I couldn't get there, even though I was at 9 resources because I was ramping pretty regularly. So, but yeah, I mean, getting a chance to play some cards out of aspect and just seeing how that fits. It's maybe there's a world in which it's not just overwhelming barrage that you play out of aspect and that's it. Maybe there's some other cards that can work their way in, especially if they counter certain things in whatever turns out to be the meta moving forward. So that'll be exciting to see, and it's cool. It's cool that we can do that in Star Wars Unlimited. I think the thing for me that I've really enjoyed the most about the gameplay specifically is reminding myself that I need to resource smartly, because it's it's not as straightforward as it is online, or as it is against an AI, or as it is um, anywhere else. Now that the game's been released, we have real cards in hand, and that's all we're doing. It's a scenario in which um, the dilemma in front of you is real, and it's you have very real consequences in. I mean, very real consequences. That makes it sound way more dramatic than it is, but um,
On brand for you,
it
Kevin. It's
is
okay.
true. I'm very dramatic, but it's a scenario where if you resource the wrong thing, it's really going to come back to bite you. And your dog agrees with me. So I do think that that is my newest challenge with this game, is making sure I get those decisions right, and that's been really refreshing. As someone who knows the card pool pretty well, it's not a matter of am I picking the right cards? I feel like I am for the most part, with some exceptions. It's am I doing the right things with them? And that's been a fun challenge for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I like this point a lot because as we've been ramping up gameplay more and starting to to get the cards on the table, I have shared with you outside of this channel that I personally feel like resourcing is one of the hardest things that you do in this game. There are some very, very difficult decisions that you have to make, and they're decisions that have major ramifications for the game state down the line,
Mhm.
even on the first, opening hand that you draw. And so that is definitely an aspect of the game I would agree is one that I need to put more work into, and just, reps will help with that. That's really how you solve for it, but it's 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 something that has really been both challenging and rewarding because you can see you know what you're resourcing every turn, and you can see how those decisions impact the game state and play out over time, and it can be very rewarding when you do it correctly, but also very rewarding when you don't, because it's a good way to learn. So I think this is a great point and something that um, will really define. It'll be a defining characteristic of whoever is going out and taking down these events that are coming.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about actually playing Star Wars Unlimited in person is, have you noticed that even when you lose, it's still fun and you want to keep playing? Have you noticed that? Because I have, and I definitely didn't feel that way all the time with other card games.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I also think it's the first week and we're all like really excited, and yes, we got cards on the table, so there's definitely a bit of extra shine on the wins and losses right now, but it's also like not necessarily about that for me anyway. Like I just am enjoying getting the game on the table, and it's truly a great game. You don't need to have played it much to understand that. Like it's a really really strong and well designed game, and I just want to keep coming back to it. Um, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like it's really just kind of um, taken over the space that I have in my heart for gaming, and in a good way. It's really a tremendous product.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a blast playing it, and yeah, I want to do well with it, but I also want people that I'm playing across from to have fun doing well with it. And I think that that back and forth that we've had with ourselves playing each other, and also the people that we've been able to interact with, going to pre-release events, going to launch week events, playing games, teaching the game, has been really fun and really rewarding. I want to tell a quick story because we talked about going to weekly play, and
I was going to ask you if you were going to talk about this. Yeah.
yeah. So you and I were playing in one of our last games of the day, and because we had to go to an event later on in the evening, and as we're playing, a gentleman walks up behind us and behind some of the other players at our table that are also playing Star Wars Unlimited. And I told this story on social media, but in case you didn't see it, and he starts looking over our shoulders at what's going on, and he's sort of nodding his head and taking everything in, and then our game ends, and you discard a card that you had looked at with Ezra because the game was over, and it happened to be the foil Millennium Falcon that you pulled, and his reaction was just visceral in that moment. He's like, "Whoa, that's sick! That's awesome!" And so, Corwin, you and I invited him to sit down at the table, and we played a game, and taught him about the game as we played it. And I mean, Corwin, I don't know about you, but to me, he was as locked in as anybody who's already been aware of the game before. I mean, he was asking questions. He was fully interested in what it was we were doing, and so the game ends. It was a relatively quick game. He said, "I'll be right back." Gets up and goes down to the cash register. Now, we had to go, so we packed up and stuff. But as he's down there, he's buying into the game with the starter set, just on site, like one game. He's it's been explained to him how the game works and how it plays. He's watched it in action, and he's in. And then he buys one booster pack to go with that, pulls a legendary Mace Windu. So at this point, guy is hooked. I mean, how cool was it to see that just off of one game? Our new friend, shout out Isaac if you're checking us out. Our new friend is now a Star Wars Unlimited fan.
Yeah, I mean, definitely was an awesome moment, and one of those moments that I think we'll hopefully see a lot of in the community as the game grows. And also just part of how the game will grow is these are cards, and again, speaking to the design of the game and the product, people will see this from afar, and it looks and feels like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars obviously is an IP that has captured a lot of people's hearts, so they see that being played on the tabletop, and they want a piece of it, and our buddy Isaac was no exception. So definitely a great moment, one of those situations as a ambassador for the community, or whatever you want to call us, that we love to see and hope to see more of.
We are highly invested members of the community. Let's put it that way. And so I just want to close that story out by saying that I made sure that I met up with him the following day to play the game with him and with his new starter decks, and he was already talking about adding to the decks he had, and building new decks. He wants to try out Chirrut and Sabine, because he did a full deep dive on YouTube of a bunch of creators who were talking about how to play and what to build and stuff like that. And we played a couple games with the Luke Invader starters, and when he found out that Luke's lightsaber gave Luke a shield, he was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And he had a big shielded Luke out there, and and when Darth Vader hit an overwhelming barrage, he was like, "This is crazy." So it was a really good time, and just a great reminder that now is the time to bring as many people as we can into this great game, because and you said it already, Core, when it's not about wins and losses, it's not about playing the best decks right now, it's just about everybody enjoying the fact that we have this game after waiting 10 months for it, and some waiting longer, some waiting 3-4 years since our last game. So that piece of it was just really awesome to see, and hopefully that there's no regret on anybody's part for investing in the game, because it's been super rewarding just getting a chance to play with everybody. I mean, that's been my favorite moment from interacting with the community so far. What has yours been? I mean, I know it's hard to top that, but
Yeah, I don't see how you
no,
do top,
no,
top it. I would probably just give a more general answer. That's kind of my MO.
yeah,
Uh, but I think these last 2 weeks with the pre-release events, and now some of the stuff we went to this weekend. We played another Seal together. We did a weekly play on Sunday. It's just getting to meet the members of our local community, getting to form relationships with the shops, all of which in the area are supportive of this game and want
yeah,
to run events and are looking for communities to build, and are being very fair about you know prizes and distribution and things like that. So
mhm,
um, so I think just getting to meet some new faces and start to grow some of those relationships is definitely, and Isaac is one of them. Definitely the highlight of the game so far for me.
yeah. And you also mentioned it too. It's the store support has been really awesome in our area,
Yep.
and I know we're fortunate in that way, because we live in Southern California, and we live in an area that there are people, like, if you build it, they will come, and people have built an interest for this game with the wide network of local game stores and local card shops. And as a result, we're seeing some turnout. There was an event that took place that we didn't go to, but that producer Pops went to on launch weekend, and it garnered over 30 people. Which is
Crazy.
wild. Because it's a Sunday night. So people are taking time out of their weekend to play this game with other people, and as a result, the stores are also being generous with their prizing, and weekly play packs are here, right? So, we've already seen
Yeah, how
some.
cool are those, by the
Oh
way?
man,
All the cards in there are just, ooh,
yeah,
man.
the weekly play packs are awesome. I think you ended up with one of the cooler cards in the Stormtrooper, which is really sick. I ended up opening up a Greedo in my first weekly play pack, which looks awesome and looks better to me than the regular Greedo. Although it's hard for me to knock the regular Greedo, because I have a couple of different variants of it which look awesome. Um, yeah, I just I've been having a blast. I know you have too. I know, really we all have. Just playing this game and getting a chance to meet new people because of it, and so, like, I'm excited for the future of Star Wars Unlimited. I'm excited to go to the next weekly play event, which hopefully we're gonna do here um, later this week. I'm excited for actually getting, like, real constructed reps at some point, because we're in the middle of March now, Corwin, which means it's in a month and a half we're gonna have store showdowns. Like, that's crazy. Just to even think of that. Like, 2 months ago, we were like, "Oh, it's 2 months till release." Now it's a month and a half till store showdowns. We can try to get those Mace Windu promos, and the takedown promos, and test our metal and stuff like that. So That's exciting to me too. So we've got a lot to be excited about for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just feel super incentivized to go to weekly plays right now.
Hmm.
And obviously a lot of that starts with the community, but it's also just like actually having the support, like the price support, the OP packs, the stores buying in, and making that a format with which to, try out ideas for events later down the road, or play some Twin Suns, or play some casual, like maybe people want to draft. I mean, there's just like, there's so many different ways you can do it. Um, so I definitely am excited, as I always have been, to get into the stores and play. And yeah, I mean, as my collection ramps up, I'm excited to get the big guns on the table. I'm sure I'm sure we'll be sharing some of that with the listeners and viewers, Kevin. So I'm excited for that too.
Well, so you've already played your hand. You said you're building Leia. So is that the move? Is that what you're taking a weekly play? You're just gonna run over people with that, or what? What's the move here?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have multiple options.
Okay.
Um, but it's definitely a deck I'm enjoying a lot right now. So um, we'll see how any future polls might influence the deck choice. But for now, it's her and um, her and Vader, I think, are kind of taking the lead for me as far as initial decks out the gate.
Yeah, I think in these first couple weeks we'll probably see a decent amount of Vader, and maybe some Luke again because the two-player starter set is just an awesome entry point because you can add 6 packs to it and be perfectly happy. You can add three
If
packs
you
to it.
had your choice, like if card pool wasn't an issue and you
Hmm.
could put anything you want in a deck,
Hmm.
what would you be building right now?
Right now, yeah, that's a really hard one because it's
Like take just to, like for these first couple weeks of weekly play, just something
oh
that you want to try out.
okay. Well, that's an important caveat because I don't want to build what I think is going to be my best overall deck right now. Again, because I want I'm not saying I'm the best player in the world and I'm going to steamroll people if I do that, but I also don't want to make for any, kind of a negative play experience if I have this, well optimized deck list that I've been tooling with for 4 months and then I come up against the guy who's playing the starter deck. So, um, I think off the jump here, I'm going to build a Hera deck because again, the Spectres are awesome. And I'm super in on that. And
So
that
all card pool, no restrictions. You're going Hera with Specters.
that will be one of my first two decks would be Hera.
Mono, or are you splashing a
I
color?
I think I'm still staying with blue. It's it's
Blue. Oh, like
it's
you did in the. Hmm.
yeah. I
What's your rationale for going blue with her?
um the removal package in blue is just better than it is in mono green. Combining green blue, we've seen already has you know
Well, certainly in villain, it's very formidable.
right, but villainy and heroism, with the exception of Power of the Dark Side, share a lot of those cards. You have Takedown, you have Make an Opening, you have Vanquish if you decide to run that. Um,
Make an opening, probably a card that deserves more attention,
it does, it does, and not just because it looks beautiful in hyperspace. Um,
as you can attest to.
yeah.
Yes.
So I still think there might be something there. I'm probably gonna try multiple versions because I'm going to be going to all these weekly play events hopefully. So I'll get a chance to try to make a new version of my Hera blue. I'll get a chance to do mono green. Maybe I'll even throw in Hera red for the shenanigans because I want to see Hera with the A wings and red 3. So there's definitely a part of that makes me think, oh, you know what, Hera might be good in red. Because then if I have Hera in red, then I have a lot more vehicles that I can play, and then I can play Wedge, and then I can put in Gorilla Attack Pod with Wedge, and then all things can just coalesce into this massive
There you go.
onslaught of vehicles. So anyway,
Okay. All right.
so I'm definitely going to be building that, and then my villainy deck is really up in the air. Obviously, I'm desperate to play with Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is going to be an interesting experience at weekly plays. So I might do like a Grand Inquisitor or an Iden first, I think Iden, Vader, Palpatine, and Thrawn are like my four decks that I want to like hone in on and try to figure out if they're viable competitively. Um, so maybe getting some loose reps there. I loved playing Palpatine and Sealed, by the way. I don't know why everybody's knocking on Palpatine. He's awesome. So I'm definitely going to
He
explore the
does,
Palpatine
he
train.
does cool things, but he's, he it takes forever to come out. He's in the right color to
Yeah,
accelerate that, but
yeah,
yeah, it's just so long to get to him.
yeah. So needless to say, I've got some building ahead of me, which again I can finally do now that I have my pulls sorted and my variants right where they need to be. So
It's your favorite thing to do. Spoiler alert for all of our listeners: Kevin will not be able to decide on a deck that once it's time to actually pick one to take to an event. He will not be able to decide on anything until probably about an hour before.
this is true. This is true. This has been my gift and my curse for so long. I love deck building. I love the process of it, and it gets me in trouble. So I'm gonna try to avoid that as we get closer to Store Showdown season. But for now, the world is my oyster, and I've got a shucking knife. So
Yeah,
uh,
we're having fun.
yeah,
These first couple of weeks, yeah, I think is just about trying out new things, seeing how things feel, especially cards that, like you said earlier, maybe you don't normally give them a shot,
hmm
but you know, throw them in, see what they can do. I'm all about that right now.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we've made you wait long enough. That's the essence of some of our thoughts of this past weekend. Again, we're having a blast, and we're going to continue doing that. But Corwin, it's time. It's time to open a pack. So let's
Let's do it.
jump into the top-down mode right about now. Look at that. So I have over here on my side a stack of packs that I purchased from our friends over at Deploy Your Leader Gaming. Deploy Your Leader Gaming, as you may know by now, is a proud partner of Roll On Gaming. Shout out to Brian, the proprietor of DYL. Um, he's been gracious enough to, provide us with an outlet to share our thoughts in article format on his website. And we're thrilled to be a partner of DYL as well. So make sure if you've got any sealed needs, singles needs, accessory needs, go check out Deploy Your Leader Gaming. There's going to be a link in the description box below, and at some point there will also be a code to get yourself some savings on some singles. So when that happens, be sure to check out the description box for that. But first, we got a pack here, and of course it's going to be a Grand Admiral Thrawn pack because it would not be any other way. The first pack we open on this
First pack's gotta
podcast,
be fun.
it's got to be that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to crack it open on this one, and we're going to see what happens. So here we go. Crack it open up here, and then move it right down here, and then let's see what's in here, shall we? All right. So we are going to do the showcase check. It's not a showcase, but look at that. That's a
Ooh,
10.
15.
You know what that means? We got a Palpatine in here. So there's a Palpatine. Very exciting. Let's see what else we got here. Capital City, Super Laser Technician, Alliance X-Wing, Repair. I'm so bad at this. This will get better. I promise. First Legion Snowtrooper, Vanguard Infantry. I need more space for my camera. Snapshot reflexes. We're going to get there, I promise. Asteroid Sanctuary. Oh, look at that. Had to happen. Snowtrooper Lieutenant.
Snowtrooper Lieutenant on the
We
first full-on
love
pack opening.
We love to see it. You know what's funny? I opened so many Snowtrooper Lieutenants, and I did not. I pulled one variant, and it was a foil. Can you believe that? It's wild.
That is hard to believe because Snowtrooper Lieutenant, I think Snowtrooper Lieutenant and ATST
Mm-hmm.
are like the two cards I think I've pulled the most so far. And I already have a variant Snowtrooper Lieutenant. So for you to only have one
Yeah, it's crazy.
to this point
It's wild.
is definitely defying the odds.
All right, let's see what else. There's a hyperspace disabling Fang Fighter, which is cool. The borderless, makes everything better. All right, here we go. We're finding our rhythm here. Ezra Bridger. Okay. There's a Colonel Yularen. Okay. There's a Benthic 2 tubes. We're getting to the good stuff here. Spark of Rebellion is our rare.
Hera,
And then a foil No Good to Me
Ooh.
Dead, which looks really nice there.
nice one there.
So,
Yep.
all right. So, solid pack there. Again, go check out Deploy Your Leader Gaming for any needs that you might have as we get a nice long look at that foil No Good To Me Dead. And that's going to do it for us for this episode. Again, thank you all for listening. If you are new to the channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and join the community of all of our friends and the beautiful people who subscribe to this channel. Be sure to like the video and comment below what you're excited about as we move into weekly play season and eventually Store Showdown season. So that is it for us. Corwin, any final thoughts before we sign off for the episode?
No, this has been it's been a journey, and if these first couple of weeks are any indication of how this game is going to go as far as enjoyment levels and community building, we're off to a fantastic start, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely. So keep building your communities, keep having fun playing Star Wars Unlimited, and keep listening to Roll On Gaming because we appreciate you. Thanks everybody for watching. For my brother Corwin, I'm Kevin, signing off. Have a great day.